Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our final webinar from our four-part series, Empowering Strong Women in Partnership with FemSport. Tonight's talk, Life After the Competition, is about how to maintain a healthy lifestyle and mindset when the goal is over. My name is Angie Falk, and I run our events program with Nature's Fair Markets in Kamloops. Thank you all for joining us this evening, and thank you to FemSport for being the driving force behind this series. The presentation will be about 20 minutes long. Note that the microphones will remain muted, but we encourage everyone to submit their questions in the Q&A box to the right-hand side of the screen. Our team will be monitoring your questions as we go along, and we will ask Melina at the end. Before I hand it over to Melina, I'd like to give you a bit on her background. Melina Lamb is a certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, and online trainer. She believes all women should have the opportunity and to enjoy the confidence and strength that comes with achieving their fitness and well-being goals, and is here this evening to share her knowledge with us. Thank you so much for being with us here tonight, Melina.
Thank you so much, Angie. I just wanted to make sure my audio was on, double checking. And thank you so much for being here tonight for this presentation. I'm really excited to share this information with you. So before we begin, as Angie mentioned, we're going to have Q&A in the last 15 minutes. So ask questions at any point during the presentation, and Angie will ask them of me at the end. And I've also shared a PDF, so you can download that at any time. Down in the chat box, there's a little pop-up there where you can download the handout, which is actually a workbook on how to maintain your healthy habits that you would like to keep after your competition, and to get really clear on what those are, which pairs really well with the information and the presentation that I'm going to share with you today. My name is Melina Lamb, and I'm a certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, and online trainer. And I'm very passionate about helping women through the power of nutrition to become the strongest, fittest, and healthier version of themselves, in part because of my own fitness journey, which started back in 2012 when I started back up at the gym. And with healthy nutrition supporting me, I was able to gain 35 pounds of lean muscle, which at the time was a very healthy goal for myself. And in 2018, I actually competed in a bikini fitness competition, which was definitely something that I didn't think would be in the cards for me over the age of 35. But with proper nutrition and my fitness supporting me, that was something that I was able to achieve. So today I'm going to talk to you about post-competition and how to transition well into that post-competition phase. And because of the competition that I competed in 2018, although it's very different than a FemSport competition, it still showed me how important it is to transition well after your competition if you want to be able to maintain the healthy habits that you developed during the time that you were training for your competition. And sometimes there's pitfalls that can happen after your competition. And if you're not careful, you don't transition well, sometimes you can end up slipping back and end up worse off than you were before you ever started training. So before the competition, this is the best time to start preparing for that post-competition life and get really clear on what parts of the lifestyle during your training that you want to bring forward with you so that that doesn't happen to you. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to continue your new healthy lifestyle habits and maintain that mindset once the goal is over. So what to expect when it's over. So that quote that I put there, anxiety is the dizziness of freedom, is a perfect quote for that post-competition feeling. Leading up to your competition, there's a lot of motivation and excitement. And of course, competition day is very exciting. And even you get a high for the next couple of days. But then after that's over, because you're not having the same amount of training, you're not building up towards that goal, it can kind of feel almost like you're lost because you've lost that structure of the training, and your goal that you've been working so hard for all these months has passed. So I thought that quote was perfect to sort of illustrate what to expect when it's over. So feeling down, blue after reaching any big goal, including a competition, very normal and to be expected. Might take, a week after, but feeling that sort of feeling of feeling lost and blue is very, very normal. And it's how you deal with it afterwards. Once you start feeling that way, that is most important, because you, like I said, you don't want it to drag you down so that you end up worse off than you were before training. You want to maintain that excitement and motivation to a certain degree afterwards. So I'm going to tell you today how to do that, even once that motivation and excitement has decreased and the pressure to reach that goal has ended, and the support system that you've had for all this time sort of disperses a bit, right? And you want to transition to new goals gradually and honor that adjustment period where post-competition, the first couple weeks after, just honor that transition and be gentle with yourself and transition into new goals gently. Now, avoiding the on-off cycle in any sports, fitness competition, this is very important, because in the on season, you can be on training really hard. You have that deadline that's approaching and it's very motivational. And then in the off season, what can sometimes happen is you're truly off. So the nutrition goes by the wayside, the training goes by the wayside. And so what you want to do is avoid that on-off cycle where you're, the feast or famine, where during the off season, you're still supporting your health, your fitness lifestyle, your nutrition, and building on those skills so that you come back next season even stronger and healthier, and with those healthy habits really well maintained. And like I said, avoiding this on-off feast or famine cycle is important so that you don't end up further behind. This is really, really common. A lot of former athletes, they'll talk about the fact that the sole motivation for them was their sport. And so once that's over, they start asking, what am I training for, right? And so it's really important to connect with your why. That last point there, I've put find your deep reason why. So even with nutrition coaching, when my clients come to me with a goal, I will ask them why. Why is that your goal? And oftentimes it'll be a surface level reason. And I've put ask why 5 times or up to 5 times. So once you get that first why did I want to start this healthy lifestyle? Why did I want to start the competition? What was your initial motivating factor for wanting to become healthier and pursue a healthier fitness lifestyle? And ask why again. And each time you ask why, you're going to get a deeper reasoning as to why this is a goal, why you are pursuing this. And that's really important, to find out what your motivating reason was and bring that into the post-competition time, because that's going to end up being your new goal in the off season. You want to find a middle ground that you can happily maintain long term. So having a competition, having a deadline, whether it's fem sport or a biking competition or a race, that is an outward goal. It's outward from yourself. But to maintain a fitness lifestyle long term, it's really important to have an inner reason, an inner motivating factor, because that's what's really going to help propel you long term to maintain that healthy lifestyle. And the internal motivating factors are oftentimes how it makes you feel. You feel better, your body moves better, you're in less pain. It can help with stress relief, especially with fem sport, because you're close with your competitors and your coach and you're training in groups. I know this year is a little bit different with COVID, but oftentimes you're training in a group scenario. And so you really have that camaraderie of your teammates, and Having that social connection is also a really good internal motivating factor, because you're building those relationships with other people, which as human beings, especially we've learned during COVID, is really important. So finding fitness in the off season that you enjoy, if having connection with other people is really important for you, making sure to include that as well. And when we have a sport, when we have fitness that we enjoy, we can become better focused at work, better partners, better parents. And those all help with the internal motivating factors that will keep us every day pursuing those health and fitness goals. So plan for the transition like the competition. So having that competitor mindset. When you have your competition coming up, that is the goal. And you're learning skills, you're improving on certain skills in order to succeed at the competition. And you've developed over these months practices and actions, small repeated behaviors that are supporting the skills that you're learning in order to succeed at the competition. Even if you don't realize that that's what you've been doing, that is what you've been doing. You've been, making sure that your nutrition is supporting your training sessions, that you're getting in enough protein, that you're showing up to your training sessions regularly in order to improve on those skills so that you can be the strongest and have, the best technique with your weights as you possibly can, so that you can succeed the best that you possibly can for yourself on competition day. And so when you plan for your transition the same way, that can ensure the same success that you will see on competition day on the off season as well. So whereas the goal right now is your competition, in the off season, your goal becomes that why, that deeper why that I had mentioned before. And the new skill that you're going to learn and bring with you into that new phase is finding that deep reason why you're wanting to pursue a healthier fitness lifestyle and maintain those skills throughout the off season, really connecting with that and evolving the habits throughout your daily life in the off season. Those become the new skills that you develop as you go towards the goal of your why. Why am I doing this, right? It might be in order to feel better, right? Have less stress in your life, be a better parent. This is something that you do for you, right? Those are all different reasons of why you might be pursuing your fitness goal in the off season. So being proactive, you're here before the competition, you're already thinking about that post-transitional time. So this is the best time to plan, prepare, and set yourself clear expectations, because you haven't yet you still have that excitement of the competition that's on the horizon. So being able to plan for the post-competition transition period, this is the perfect time to at least start thinking about it, right? And realizing that the off season is going to be your time to rest and repair, improve on the skills that you have already developed, those habits that you've already developed, to choose the ones that you want to bring into the off season that have really helped you during training and that you want to continue to maintain. Now, of course, during off season, since you're not going to be training to that same degree, nor would it be healthy to train all year round in the same peak way. It would be really hard on your body. So you're going to decrease your training a little bit. It's not going to be quite as hardcore. So that peak athleticism that you have right now will change during the off season, and that's okay. I can't think of any sport out there where during the off season, they're just as on the game as during the on season. Every sport that's out there, they all need that off season to rest and repair and improve on certain skills. So after competition day, if you plan on competing again next year, you're going to have a few set skills that you'd like to work on during the off season. And this is going to be the perfect time to do it, because you're going to have extra time. You're not going to be training to the same level. And I will say, with my own fitness competition that I did, it was hard. That was hard to sort of go back to normal to a certain degree, where you're not at that same peak athletic capability, but knowing that that's coming ahead for you after competition, because you're not going to be training to that same level, knowing that that's coming and that's okay, and that it's actually beneficial for you for next year. Just knowing that is really helpful. And taking this time to decide, what direction would you like your health and nutrition and exercise journey to take, right? Decide if you would like to start competing next year, because during the off season, that's when you can start to build on those skills. Do you want to try a new sport? Do you want to build on certain parts that you enjoyed? The weights? Did you enjoy the sprints with the kettlebells? Which part did you enjoy the most? And then you can pick those and build on those, right? So long term, what direction would you like to see yourself going in? And this is the best time to start thinking about that. The 3 pillars of post-competition success. So moving in and out of phases. So pre-competition, when you're just starting your training, moving towards the competition day and getting to that peak athleticism, and then post-competition, those are all different phases, and moving in and out of them is a lot the same as at the beginning, right? And planning, preparing, setting clear expectations, right? So the first one there is meaning and purpose. So this is your why, with the why being your new goal post-competition. And part of the reason why this is so beneficial is because it gives you a way to gut check, right? To check in with yourself and see if you're on track, right? How do you know if you're on track post-competition in the off season? You can ask yourself, what I'm doing right now in my life, is it aligning with my purpose? Because we're all going to have day-to-day struggles, especially for myself during the summer. Schedule looks a lot different. Kids are home from school. I'm not making it to the gym quite the same way as I would during the school year. So I'm not competing per se, but there's just different stages of life that hit you, right? So being able to give yourself a gut check and check in with your why being your new goal, and asking yourself, is what I'm doing right now with my fitness, with my nutrition, is it aligning with my purpose? And if it isn't, is that okay? Right? At the beginning of the summer, we were eating a lot of ice cream here. Right before bathing suit season, we were eating a lot of ice cream, which was a little bit unusual for us. But my youngest daughter, she'd been allergic to dairy for years and years, and she's outgrown it. She's reached a stage in her life where she's outgrown it. So we were celebrating the fact that we could eat a lot of ice cream and she could join us for the first time in her life. And so when I did a gut check and I checked in with my why and being my personal goal, right? I had to ask myself, is what I'm doing aligning with my purpose? Eating a lot of sugar, eating a lot of ice cream every day? No, it didn't align with my purpose, but was I okay with that? And at that stage, yes, I was okay with that, right? So that's what that looks like in real life post-competition, when you have your why as your goal and doing that gut check and checking in with yourself to see if you're still on track in the off season. Having that meaning and purpose, that's one of those pillars. It's actually probably the most important pillar, I would say. And it also connects in with that last pillar there of deep health. So deep health, right now you're training for your competition. You're really focusing on the physical aspect of your health. You're focusing on your strength and, the movement of your body. And then the other one there is mental. So that's more cognitive, emotional, environmental, which includes the people around you that support you, how your environment helps to support your health, relationships, and then existential, which is your meaning and purpose. So the last one there actually connects with that first pillar of success. So that's how the deep health connects in with your meaning and purpose. It's all very interconnected. And keeping in touch with the community. especially with fem sport. That's one of the best parts about fem sport, is that it is very community oriented, just with individual other women and also within your own community. And having that accountability is going to help with motivation in the off season. Having camaraderie with like-minded women with like-minded goals is going to be really helpful for your success post-competition. After my bikini fitness competition, even though we were all competing against each other, I kept in touch on Facebook, on Instagram with a lot of the other competitors, and that was really helpful post-competition. Even 3 years later, I'll see some of them. One of my competitors, she showed up at Nature's Fair, and we had a great conversation because we share a lot of the same goals and a lot of the same experiences because we did the same competition. So making sure to keep in touch with that community, with those that you've been training with your competitors, because you all share a similar goal, a similar experience. So that's very, very important as well. And those 3 pillars all are very interconnected. Of course, keeping in touch with the community is part of the relationships of the deep health, and it's all very, very helpful in that post-competition phase. And I just want to touch on the deep health a little bit more, because my coach, when I did my competition, really drilled this into me before I got to the post-competition period. And I found it very, very helpful that during your training, during your competition, you've focused really heavily on the physical aspect of your health. And afterwards, there might be other aspects of your health that you want to focus on that maybe you've neglected to a certain degree because you were so focused on the physical aspects of your health. So after my own competition, I focused more on the relationship with my kids. I've been very focused on training hard and my nutrition. And so I focused on my relationship with my kids, my mental health, my emotional health, just connecting to what I wanted to do after my competition, which is when I actually I officially became certified as a personal trainer. So that was my own personal new transitional goal. And that really connected with my own why after competition, which is why I think a lot of my own personal success after my competition happened because of these 3 pillars of success. I really focused in on those after completing a big goal so that I could maintain my fitness and maintain those healthy habits that I had developed during the training period, which is also going to be really important with any big goal. Fem sport competition, a biking competition, races, these 3 pillars will help you in any of those goals. Once you've reached them, really connecting with those are going to be really helpful. And if you've been here for any of the 3 previous talks, with each phase of training for the competition, I've talked a little bit about tools, supplements, foods that can help support the particular stage that you're at. And now that you're reaching the post-competition period, I've also got some tools that are really going to be really helpful for your body, for your mind, to help bridge the gap and transition you into this post-competition period. And I've got a few here with me that are going to help strengthen and nurture your body. You've been training really hard, physically, mentally, in order to show up as your best self on competition day. And it's important to support your adrenals and support your overall health, strength, and immunity. And these 3 supplements that I'm going to share with you are really going to help do that for you. So the Purica Complete 360, I love this one because it has 8 different medicinal mushrooms in addition to ashwagandha, which I've also talked in the recovery talk. Ashwagandha is an adaptogen and it helps your body adapt to both physical and mental stress. And so it helps with adrenal support and helping with the rest and relaxation that you need in the recovery phase, which is going to be a big pillar of the post-competition period. And the medicinal mushrooms that are in there are very well absorbed. They're micronized. And a lot of them, medicinal mushrooms are becoming very popular. They're becoming more mainstream. So a lot of the mushrooms that are in here, you may be familiar with. For example, lion's mane is becoming a popular nutraceutical that people are taking to help with cognitive support, memory, alertness. And then it's also got turkey tail, which helps with immune support, red reishi, which helps with rest and relaxation and immune support as well. And then it also has the other medicinal mushrooms, which help to support and strengthen your body. So it's very, very nourishing to bring back that strength to your body after training very hard, right? And ashwagandha, you can also get it just on your own if you're not able to take the mushrooms, and also very, very helpful for adrenal support, and also helps with oxidative stress. So when you're training very hard, that can create free radicals and oxidative stress on the body. So both of these are going to be really helpful to reduce that stress on the body. And the third one here that I would put under the same heading of strengthening and nurturing your body is the Natural Factors Regenilife. This one is very, very helpful for cardiovascular, brain, and muscle function. It helps on the cellular level, the mitochondria and ATP. So right at the very cellular level of where you get the energy for your body, it's going to help with that. And it's got a very powerful antioxidant in there as well. So it's going to help with that oxidative stress that can come with training very hard. So all three of these, oh, and this one tastes delicious. It tastes like watermelon. It's very, very delicious. So all three of these are very, very similar in the fact that they are going to help strengthen and nurture your body in that post-competition phase, especially because you've been working really hard. It's important to nourish your adrenals and body in that way. And the next one there with healthy staples, I've got some recommendations that, of course, you always want to go over with your healthcare provider to make sure that they are best for you. These ones I would say are very, I would recommend them almost to anyone, whether you're starting a fitness journey or post-competition. They're almost like, I would call them staples, because they help to bridge the gap between nutrition and the fact that we live in reality and we're not eating perfect all of the time. And even if we did, the foods in 2021, our foods don't quite have the same nutrients that they used to in the 1950s, right? So helping to nourish your body in this way is going to help you just be able to function at your best level possible. So multivitamin for active women. This one is my absolute favorite. And when anyone asks me what multivitamin I recommend, this is always my first choice. It's the Platinum Naturals Active X, and specific for women. You can also get this one for men. If you have someone in your life that's a man, they also have the same version in a men version. And I'm really big on absorption. So it's not necessarily what you're putting in your body. It's what your body's actually absorbing from what you're putting in your body. And what I really like about the Platinum Naturals Multi is that it has the most absorbable forms of all those vitamins. So it's not just something that you're going to take in and you're going to pee out. Your body is actually making use of it and absorbing it to its best possible ability, because it is the most absorbable form. And this one also has nutraceuticals that have been added in to help support active women. So it's got alpha lipoic acid, which is very helpful for oxidative stress, milk thistle seed extract, which is helpful after training as well with the lactic acid. It can help to mitigate some of that damage that can happen. It's got one of those medicinal mushrooms, cordyceps, rhodiola, American ginseng, which all help with energy, giving you that energy that's not jittery, right? It's not jittery or anxiety provoking. And curcumin as well. If you've been with me with any of the other talks, I've talked about curcumin, which is the active ingredient in turmeric, which is really helpful for anti-inflammatory and pain relief. So that's all in that multivitamin. So that's why I always recommend it to active women, because it is my all-time favorite. It's got a little bit of everything that you would need. And it's really helpful to nourish your body. post-competition because you have used a lot of your body's nutrients in order to train at a high level. And although a multivitamin has certain amounts of all the vitamins, there's a couple other ones which you can take higher amounts of because you're going to be using higher amounts of those during the competition. So it's good to replenish those. And B vitamins is one of those ones. So you would be able to take a B complex in addition to a multivitamin because it's just got that added bit that you're going to need. And B vitamins are used in so many of our body's processes, and it just helps to reboost the levels that you have used while you're training. And it will help with energy production and all of that. And again, this one is an activated version, so that's methylated B vitamins, so they are going to be more absorbable than other forms of B vitamins, which is very important. Vitamin D, we're in Canada. I would recommend vitamin D to anyone in Canada, especially I live in Kamloops. We have, even though it's summer, we're having wildfires. So the sun is mostly behind a cloud of wildfire. And even if the sun was shining, I would be probably slathering. Most of us would be slathering sunscreen on or wearing a shirt in order to not get burnt. So we're not absorbing the amount of vitamin D from the sun year round that we would need to in order to have adequate levels of vitamin D in our bodies. And so vitamin D is really important to supplement with. Check with your doctor to see the amount that you would need to be taking. My doctor has recommended for me personally at the active level that I am to take 5,000 international units, and it can be anywhere between 1 and 10,000 depending on your own personal needs. So make sure to check with your doctor. They're often very helpful with that as far as how much vitamin D is going to be best for you. But I think it's pretty universal that in Canada, we all need to supplement with vitamin D because very, very few of us are getting enough from the sun. And the last one here is omega-3 fish oils. This one here is high in EPA, which I really like because that's going to help the most with inflammation. And when you've been training, your body's been using a lot of its own stores. And most of us are, even if you're eating fish once or twice a week, it's not enough to maintain the best levels in our body, especially being in North America with our North American diet. We're always working against that. So making sure to supplement with omega-3s is also very important. And those would be my top picks for just everyday staples. I take those every day as well. And that would be this would be a very good regimen post-competition to help to maintain those stores and replenish what you've used during the training phase. Just to recap, I'll just recap everything that we've talked about. I know I've given you a lot of information, but competing and training is very motivating. It's very exciting. And once there's no immediate goal, once the competition is over, it's very normal to feel like you're a bit of a fish out of water, like you're floundering a little bit without direction. And that's very normal and that's expected. And it's best to plan and prepare ahead of time because when those blues set in, you might feel that loss of motivation. But when you have a plan ahead of time that you go, okay, this is normal, I expect this. Now I'm going to implement my plan that Melina told me to. This is really going to help you post-competition so that you can maintain those healthy habits that you have worked so hard to develop during this training phase. So getting clear with what your why is. And if you missed at the beginning, make sure to download those PDFs because those are really going to help you figure out what habits you want to continue with and help you with deciding what your why is. Because this meaning and purpose is going to become your new goal after competition, and being able to check in with yourself and make sure that you're on track with your why is going to be really, really helpful for you. Especially if you want to come back and compete again next year. It's just going to help you come back as a stronger version of yourself and be able to beat your times and beat your weights that you have this year, next year, right? That's looking very far ahead, but that would always be the goal. And off season is the best time to rest, repair, improve on your skills, and be able to dedicate more time and effort into nurturing other areas of your health and fitness journey. So that's something that you have to look forward to. Even after the competition is over, those are things that you can look forward to in order to maintain and continue on your health and fitness journey. So I just want to thank you again for coming tonight. And if you have any questions, hopefully you've put those in the chat box. If you haven't, make sure to put them in now. And I'll check in with Angie and see if she has any questions for me.
Hi, Melina.
Hi.
Thank you. That was awesome. So great. Every webinar, I learned so much more.
It's like building on the...
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you.
So we'll wait to see if any questions come into the Q&A box here. I'm wondering if you have any dietary, any recommendations for dietary changes?
Post-competition?
Post-competition.
Post-competition. So especially because, as I mentioned during the talk, you're not going to be maintaining that same level of training, that same level of athleticism that you're currently doing building up to the competition. Post-competition, you're probably going to be exercising either less days or less amount of time, or maybe because your kids are out of school like mine are, you're going to be focusing more on that, and you're not going to be hitting up your workouts or your training sessions quite the way that you were or are now. It's important to keep in mind that you're probably going to need less calories because you're going to be burning less calories. So the amount that you're able to eat now is probably going to change. So to expect that, right? Your portion sizes are probably going to be less. I know like with fem sport, it's not as my bikini competition was where you're losing weight or where that is a goal. But if you were to eat the same amount that you are during training and during competition time, if you were to eat that same amount afterwards, you might start to gain weight or just not feel your best. So keeping in mind that the amount that you're eating might change. But again, sticking with making sure that you're getting an adequate protein. So for women, if we go by the palms of our hands, either the distance, both the distance of our palm and the thickness, eating that 4 times a day is going to be a decent amount of protein to help maintain that muscle mass that you've gained during training. Because if you kind of let everything go and stop eating the amount of protein that you were during training, and you're not training as hard, your body it's not using the muscle, it doesn't need the muscle, it's not getting the protein to support maintaining the muscle, it's going to reduce that muscle mass that you have. So making sure to reduce the amount of calories that you're eating if you're going to be training less, but not reducing the amount of protein that you're eating, because you want to ideally maintain that muscle mass that you've gained with all your hard work during training is going to be important as well.
For sure. Great. So we do have one question here. Any advice on recognizing when I can push my workouts without further harming my adrenals?
Yeah, so the way that you know that you're pushing your body, which is to the point where it's going to affect your adrenal health, is going to be watching for changes in how you feel. So your sleep habits. So if you're starting to stress your body to the point where you're getting into overtraining, which is sort of another way of saying stressing your adrenals, you might either need to sleep all the time, where no matter how much sleep you get, you feel like you're never getting enough, or you may not be able to sleep. So you try and go to bed and you're lying there blinking all night long. You can't sleep except for, the hour or two before you have to wake up. All of a sudden you conk out, right? So having those big changes in how you're sleeping can be a sign that your adrenals are starting to get a bit stressed. If you're starting to get anxiety, feeling anxious, your heart rate is higher. So first thing in the morning when we wake up, that's our resting heart rate. That's the lowest, even before you sit up in bed, before you even move, the way that our heart is beating, that's our resting heart rate, because you haven't been moving and you've been digesting at some point in the night, but you're probably not actively digesting first thing when you wake up. But if that starts to be elevated, so where you have an elevated heart rate first thing in the morning, that can be a sign that you're starting to get into the point where you're stressing your adrenals out. So any sort of changes like that are really important to connect into your body. And if that's happening, then taking a bit of a break from your training can be really beneficial. Although it's hard to do. It's hard to do, especially because we get that high after we're training, right?
Well,
we feel really good.
You gain momentum, you want to keep going with it, right?
Yeah. But you can actually, it sounds counterintuitive, but making sure that your body is getting that rest that it needs, and where your adrenals are really strong and your hormones are really strong and your body's functioning at optimal level and getting that recovery that it needs, you can actually be stronger. So sometimes you have to slow down to get further ahead.
I'm wondering if there's a time of day that you think is best for women to work out. Is morning better than evening, just for that cortisol rush at night? Would you think morning is better?
They've done studies on this, and I've read different things, and there's not really a consensus. Mm-hmm. They say usually first thing in the morning, if you haven't moved your body, you can make yourself a bit more prone to injury with your joints, mm-hmm. because you don't have that lubrication that you've had after you've gotten up and wandered around a little bit. But it's going to be very individual. So some of us are morning people and some of us are evening people. So some people do really well. They can work out in the, I'm not this person, this is not me, but some people can work out in the evening and still go to sleep and go to bed at night. I can't personally do that. So I'm a morning, first half of the day person. I used to wake up at 5 a.m. and work out before I did anything else. And that worked really, really well for me. Now I'm kind of a early to midday person, but it's going to be really individual, and really what works best with your schedule and what feels best for you is going to be best for you. It sounds really cliche, but listening to your body is probably the best way to go, because it's going to be different from me to you to somebody else. It's hard to give the same kind of blanket advice to everybody. But as long as you're getting in enough sleep and you're feeling good, then you know that you're on the right track.
Good information. Thank you. So it looks like that's all the questions we have for this evening. Just want to make sure everyone downloads the files before they log off the webinar. Also, this webinar has been recorded, and you can find it along with the first 3 from this webinar series on YouTube. I don't have the link posted. Maybe, Melissa, are you able to post that into the chat box? I just want to thank everyone for joining us for this series. It was really exciting. Awesome to hear Melina share all of her wealth of knowledge with us. It's been so great, Melina. Hope we can do it again another time.
That'd be great. And good luck to all the competitors that are competing with FemSport. You guys are going to rock it. I'm really excited for you. You've been training for so long for this. So congratulations, and kill it on competition day.
And if anyone wants to check in with Melina further to inquire about her services, you can go to Melina at Melina. Sorry, is it Melina?
Melina Fit. MelinaFit.com. So MALINAFIT.com. MelinaFit.com has all my information on my nutrition coaching.
Perfect. And if you have questions about any of the products that Melina has shared over the course of these 4 webinars, you can come see us at any of the Nature's Fair locations, and our vitamin staff will be happy to assist you.
So knowledgeable, so helpful.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Have a good evening, everyone. Take care. Goodbye.